Was James Buchanan America's first gay president? That's something that we've been debating all day here at TYT. And Salon.com wrote an op-ed about this because it kind of goes to show that, you know, if he was the first gay president, then our country has actually moved backwards when it comes to this particular social issue.
So, first of all, that cover that you just saw was, of course, not a real Newsweek cover. It was Salon who had done that cover to make the point they're making. And second of all, when Newsweek said President Obama was the first gay president, they meant like Bill Clinton is the first black president because he's in favor of, you know, he pushed for civil rights, cared about the black community, etc. Now, in the case of James Buchanan, it's not symbolic. He might have actually been gay. So, now, some historians think that's the case. Some historians don't think that's the case. We shall present you with the evidence.
Right. So there is a lot of evidence coming out. And you got to keep in mind that this evidence comes from 1844, right? Mm-hmm. So the way people spoke to one another was very different from the way we speak to one another now. It was much more romantic. And I guess romantic words that were exchanged between two males were not considered homoerotic at all.
Yeah, okay, all right. Okay.
At least that's what some people are arguing. I just want to make sure you guys have all the information.
No. Putting aside my smugness for a second. Now, look, I get it. Like, look, for example, in some Middle Eastern communities, guys hold hands. That's why when Abdullah came here from Saudi Arabia, President Bush had held his hand and walked around the Rose Garden, and they made out, and it was fun. It was, you know, and it was non-romantic. It's just that's what they do, right? Uh-huh. So, okay, so they're saying back in the day it was like that. Dudes would hang out, and they'd cuddle in bed and stuff. No, but they would write like, "Oh my God, I really miss you, John. You kicked ass. I remember when we were playing together, and it was awesome, etc." And that is true. It is true. Now, it's the different question as to whether Buchanan meant something else. So.
Okay, so let me give you the evidence that we have. So first of all, he lived with a Democratic senator from Alabama by the name of William Rufus King, okay? And he lived with that guy.
Awesome.
He lived with him for about 15 years, okay?
Okay. Okay, all right, look, look, hold on. Right now, still, the jury's out. Okay. But the dude's name is Rufus King.
That doesn't mean anything.
Okay, no, that doesn't mean anything. It's just fun, okay? And how awesome would it be today if the president was living with a male senator from Alabama named Rufus King? Okay, like, Bush is like, it's no big deal, I'm not married. James Buchanan was not married. He was the bachelor president, right? I'm not married, I'm just living with a Rufus. What, is that a problem? Okay, all right, so, but that's just, that doesn't mean anything so far, so keep going.
So back in 1844, while he was living with Rufus King, Rufus decided to take a trip to France. And during this...
Of course he did.
During this point, okay, James Buchanan became a little lonely. So he wrote a letter to one of his friends, and the letter said the following. I am now solitary and alone, having no companion in the house with me. I have gone a-wooing to several gentlemen, but have not succeeded with any one of them. I feel that it is not good for a man to be alone, and should not be astonished to find myself married to some old maid who can nurse me when I am sick, provide good dinners for me when I am well, and not expect from me any very ardent or romantic affection.
Oh, go. O-V-A-H, say it with me, O-V-A-H, over, come on. Now, I know they said no. Wooing in terms of trying to find a gentleman to have good conversations with, good companionship.
Yes, except the context of that letter. If he had just said the wooing part, then maybe we can have a discussion. But then look at the context of that letter, because he goes like, I haven't succeeded with any of these men. I wouldn't be surprised to find myself with one of these old maids who won't expect any romantic affection from me.
Gee, I wonder why.
It's like, it's the context of the letter that I find, you know.
No, look, I'm calling it. It's already over, okay? So I know what historians say, what Anna pointed out, and they talked in more flowery language. But they didn't come from Mars, okay? They're still speaking the same language as we speak. They're still human beings. You don't go to woo a guy to play chess with him, okay? You're not like, oh, I sought out this gentleman and then another one to play chess with and to read a book with. But they spurned me. And then so, oh my God, I might be stuck with a woman, but of course I wouldn't show any romantic inclinations towards her. It's so obvious.
Another really interesting thing.
Back then, being a bachelor wasn't like, no, you just got married, dude. You just got married, okay? And he was the first bachelor president. Gee, I wonder why. He couldn't even stand the idea of living with a woman. Mm-hmm. Okay, come on. All right, anyway, keep going. Yes.
Another really interesting piece of evidence that I found was that after he passed away, it turns out that their nieces had burned any correspondence between them. Mm-hmm. So any letter
between James Buchanan and Rufus?
Yes.
Come on.
So why did they burn it? You know, so there are all these like little pieces of evidence that kind of come together.
Okay. James Buchanan, officially first gay president. Over. End of this.
And there's nothing wrong with that. If anything, I give society back then a tremendous amount of credit for not doing what we would do with him now. You know, they would totally demonize him now.
Oh yeah, you know, it's two interesting points there. Number one, you know, I understand that back then it was being gay was not necessarily an identity within the social context. Mm-hmm. So they weren't, you know, it's not that people weren't gay, it's that they didn't perceive it that way. Like, so there would be sometimes non-romantic but really robust friendships among guys, among girls before they got married, sometimes after they got married. Sometimes they would be romantic relationships between the same sexes, and then they would get married and they would think, well, okay, yeah, I mean, John and Bob were close and then they had sex, and John and Tom were close and they just played chess. It was no big deal in a sense, right? Sometimes, you know, if it gets out and it becomes public, then you've got the Bible issues, etc. So let's not be naive that of the problems that it could create, right? But it wasn't viewed as an identity as much as something you happen to do, right? So I get that as well. So Buchanan might not have thought of himself as quote unquote gay. Okay, but today, within the context that we have, he clearly and indisputably is, if you ask me, and I don't know why historians bother to make up all these crazy excuses. I just don't know why.